He knew he had made a mistake the moment the stagecoach wheels stopped turning. The feeling hit before he even saw her face. For nearly 4 months, the advertisement had lived folded inside his coat pocket like something breathing. He read it. Too many times. Ran his thumb over the ink like it might smear into something different if he pressed hard enough. The handwriting was careful, measured, the kind of writing a person used when they were trying not to ask for too much. Between the polite phrases and modest promises, he sensed it, quiet desperation wrapped in dignity. On the ranch, nights stretched longer than a man should endure alone. Once the sun dropped behind the hills, silence crept in slow and mean. It sat across from him at the table, lay beside him in bed, listened while the fire cracked low. He told himself he did not fear it. A man who survived winters alone did not. Fear quiet, but truth had claws. It scratched loudest. When the wind died down and there was nothing left to distract him from the sound of his own breathing, he did not want love. Love made men foolish. Love made them careless. Love made them weak enough to lose everything. What he wanted was order, a warm stove, a steady presence, a pair of hands to help mend what time kept breaking. A woman who would slip into the empty spaces of his life without rearranging it. Something practical. Something manageable. So he mailed the letter. Sent the money. Made the arrangement like he was purchasing. Fencing wire or winter feed. Clean. Distant. Controlled. Until the stagecoach arrived. Dust rose behind it like a warning from God. Himself. His stomach dropped hard. Something inside him already knew he had misjudged this. She stepped down steady, not hesitant. Not wide-eyed. Not fragile. Her boots touched dirt like she had walked harder roads than this. Her dress was plain and wrinkled from travel, but she stood tall, chin lifted, eyes sharp and assessing. She did not search his face for safety, she searched for value. You sent for me? She asked. Her voice did not tremble. That unsettled him more than tears would have. He nodded once. Regret settled cold in his chest. This was not what he had ordered. The ride back to the ranch felt longer than usual. He expected nervous chatter, maybe timid questions. Instead, she studied the land like it was something to measure herself against. Fences sagging under years of weather. The barn leaning stubborn but tired. The house standing alone against an endless sky. She did not criticize, she did not praise, she simply observed, and that quiet confidence crawled under his skin. Inside the house, he gestured toward the bare kitchen, the narrow bedroom, the rough wooden table that had never hosted more than one plate. Ain't much, he muttered. I've lived with less. She answered calmly. He did not know why that answer bothered him. Maybe because it meant she wasn't impressed. Maybe because it meant she wasn't afraid. That night, he lay awake listening to the soft sound of her moving in the next room. She unpacked slowly, carefully, like someone who intended to remain. Permanence frightened him more than loneliness ever had. Morning arrived, sharp and pale. He woke to the smell of weak coffee and the scrape of iron against stove grates. She stood there already dressed, sleeves rolled, hair tied back, coaxing flame from stubborn wood. She poured him a cup without asking. It tasted thin. It tasted shared. When he stepped outside to check the fences, she followed. You don't have to. Oh, he said. I didn't come to sit pretty, she replied. Her hands blistered before noon. Wind knocked her sideways twice. She straightened both times without complaint. He pretended not to watch, but he watched. Town noticed too. Whispers trailed behind them like stray dogs. Too bold, too quiet. Too proud. He felt the weight of their stares. He had lived his life without needing anyone's approval. Now he felt judged for the company he kept. She walked through it untouched. Head high. Unafraid. She did not belong to him in the way he had imagined. She belonged to herself. That realization unsettled him most of all. 3 days before the storm, the sky turned the color of bruised steel. The air tasted metallic. Livestock paced restlessly. The wind shifted wrong, sharp and cutting like it carried intention. He had seen storms before, but this one felt personal. Snow began soft, deceptive, gentle flakes, drifting like harmless ash. By morning, it howled. By afternoon, it erased the world. Fences vanished beneath drifts. The barn disappeared behind white fury. The horizon dissolved into nothing. The storm did not arrive politely. It invaded. They worked without speaking. Boarding windows, stacking wood, securing animals. When wind nearly tore her from her feet, he caught her arm. She nodded once. No gratitude. No fear. Just shared. Understanding. Night fell heavy and wild. The barn groaned. A crash split the dark. Reached for his coat. She reached for the rope. I'm coming. Outside, the storm hit like a living thing. Snow blinded. Wind screamed loud enough to swallow thought. The rope between them became lifeline and promise. Inside the barn, animals thrashed in panic. She moved among them steady. Voice low and firm. The chaos softened around her sound. A beam cracked loose overhead. He did not see it in time. She did. She yanked him back hard enough to knock the breath from his lungs, as wood splintered where he had stood seconds before. For a heartbeat, they stared at each other through flying snow. He saw it then. She wasn't afraid of dying. She was afraid of losing him. Something inside him shifted. Not sudden, but undeniable. They stumbled back to the house, soaked through, hands numb, lungs burning. The fire flickered low. They sat close because distance meant cold. Silence stretched, but it no longer felt sharp. You regret sending for me, she said quietly. He stared into the flames. I did. The truth hung heavy between them. I didn't come for romance, she admitted. I came because staying where I was meant disappearing. That word lingered. Disappearing. He understood it too well, he confessed then. The loneliness he dressed up as pride. The fear of needing someone. The foolish belief that he could order companionship without sacrificing control. She laughed softly. Not cruel. Knowing. The storm battered the walls harder, but something steadier built inside the room. Respect. Not soft. Not pretty. Earned. Mourning. Arrived pale and merciless. The ranch lay broken. Roof torn. Fences swallowed. Snow piled like graves across the land. He stepped forward out of habit, ready to shoulder it alone. She stepped beside him without asking. They worked all day. No commands. No hesitation. Just rhythm. By afternoon, riders from town pushed through drifts. One man smirked. Storm nearly ran your bride off? He didn't hesitate. She stayed, he said evenly. Saved more than the barn. The laughter died quick. That night she packed. I won't stay where I'm tolerated. He blocked the doorway. I don't tolerate you, he said quietly. I rely on you. That difference changed everything. Spring crept in slow and cautious. Snow softened into mud. Mud into green shoots. The land bore scars, but it stood. So did they. Mornings grew lighter. Coffee stronger. Silence warmer. He noticed the way she calmed a restless horse with a whisper. The way she refused to shrink under gossip. The way she argued without cruelty and forgave without weakness. She did not soften him. She sharpened him. One evening beneath a sky burning gold and red, he spoke the truth he once feared. That advertisement, he said, was the most reckless thing I ever did. She looked at him sideways, and the bravest. The 1885 blizzard became legend in town. They told it as survival, as disaster narrowly escaped. But for him, it marked a dividing line. Before, when he believed loneliness was strength. After, when he learned strength meant choosing someone and standing beside them when the wind tried to tear you apart. He had ordered a bride to quiet the silence. Instead, the storm forced him to confront the man he had been hiding from. And when he pulled her clothes on the porch one quiet night under a sky heavy with stars, he understood something he never had before. Love was not weakness. It was risk. It was surrender. It was work. And it was the only thing that had ever made the silence feel like home.